we often ask ourselves, like, how fun will this be to play 100 times later?
Yes.
Not only the first time. And
Yeah.
generally, the rule was that anything that's only fun once should only be experienced once.
Yes.
And I guess now with the extra permanent beam helper, it should drastically increase the damage per second output.
Oh yeah. That's,
Oh
I
man.
think Ixion's gonna have a bad time. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna have a bad day.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey everyone, thanks for joining us today. So I'd like to introduce myself. So my name is Harry Krueger and I'm the game director of Returnal. And with me today we have...
Hey everyone, I'm Greg Louden. I'm the narrative director on Returnal. And yeah, really looking forward to checking out this speedrun with you.
Yeah, so today we're going to be looking at a full game speed run by the okae player. And yeah, just full disclaimer, we haven't actually seen any of this footage before. So this is our first time going to be following this playthrough, and okae's already jumped in. And yeah, we'll try to follow the progress and provide some commentary along the way about the game as well. So it seems like it's already picking up some speed.
Yeah, I think for me, being the narrative and the cinematic director, after putting so much effort into cinematics and watching them skip, but I understand okae played the game normally the first time, so it's all good. But yeah, very fast movement so far through a lot of content that took us quite a long while to get right. So
yeah, so clearly we can expect a lot of reliance on dash and just powering through the levels as quickly as possible, prioritizing, of course, the content that's absolutely necessary. Yeah, let's see. And of course, this is the onboarding part of the game. So I guess once we unlock the full moveset of the player, we can see a lot more kind of shortcuts. And yeah, curious to see how this goes. I mean, as you know, the game is procedurally generated, or the levels are constructed in a way that's randomized every time. So it's actually pretty intriguing to see how one can do a speed run for content that's not always the same, right?
yeah, true. So curious to see like how the world builds on Atropos for okae and how they take advantage of it or don't. So it can make things a lot quicker or a lot slower. So let's see.
Yeah.
So this moment with the Titanops, this is like it's kind of like welcome to Returnal moment. A lot of players more than likely probably won't be able to defeat Titanops the first time, but it looks like okae's nailed it. So, but for us, it was a really important moment to kind of set the tone and the atmosphere, and also the challenge for Celine, as she's just crash landed on Atropos, and everything's hostile. So that was like a key hostility spike, you could say, and a good welcome to the experience. Wow, that was cool.
Yeah, very smooth.
Like a pick up and shoot at the same time.
But yeah, I managed to dispatch the Titanops really quickly there with some really calculated headshots. So
awesome.
Really cool. Okay, yeah, and this is something I'm really interested to see as well, because we do have a pretty diverse range of weapons. And of course, every time you play the game, it's pretty much down to luck what you will find on that run. Since this is coming from a fresh save, you can of course prioritize certain weapons if you memorize what they're unlocked. But really curious to see what kind of weapon choices okae is going to make for, getting over some of the bosses, for instance.
Yeah, an interesting thing I just saw is, so we have the area scan in Returnal where if you push R3, you'll basically get like a pulse, so you'll be able to see where doors are. I noticed that okae just used that for a way we didn't expect, that basically like managed to see the doors, so knew where to run, when to leave this sort of gate in between. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, very much so avoiding the combat, but obviously I think Returnal is so much about like the flow and the experience. So yeah, it's interesting to see all these jumps and skips. And yeah, it's cool that we have the timer in the settings as well, so we can already see it on the right-hand side, the run cycle. So there you go, there's the area scan. So obviously okae's played before, so it's been spamming it a bit. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, went through the...
Okay, so got health.
Yeah.
Got the Sylphium.
Oh man, this is moving pretty fast.
Yeah, burning through the overgrown ruins. It's been really great. Like, thanks to everyone who's played Returnal so far, but it's been awesome to hear all the stories of people's journeys through the game. For some people, it's just an experience they can kind of breeze through. For others, there's been some like social media stuff of people that have spent like 20 hours in the overgrown ruins to finally beat Freaky at the end. So I think it's been really awesome to hear all your stories, and yeah, thanks so much for playing. It's great, and it's kind of what we wanted. It's a really, I think, flexible game in that sense. It can be as incredibly challenging, but I think once you get it, you kind of get that see the matrix mode. You can really fly through it, as you can see that OK's doing right now.
Absolutely, yeah. And it is designed to reward kind of persistence and patience in a way.
Yeah.
And yeah, of course, every time that you play the game, it is different. I mean, you will find different encounters, different room configurations, different weapons, and it's interesting to see how each player has had their own kind of story of how they've experienced the game.
Exactly.
And of course, reaching this level of skill and knowledge of like the game systems and the levels is just, I don't know how many hours it takes someone to reach this level, but yeah, this is clearly not the first time it's okay to play this game. So yeah, and now we just unlocked the dash, the melee as well.
Yep, the Tropian Blade.
Yeah, so that opens up the so-called like DMJ, like the dash melee jump kind of combo. That's that kind of fast jump that is doing there. So
making full use of the translocators. So
yeah,
I think that's another. It's like part of it for us with Returnal when we were designing it was it is like just like Selene, you come onto Atropos with very little information. You have your Astra technology, but then you need to learn the world. So obviously OK's really learnt Atropos, knows how to use the translocators, knows how to use the blade, has really sort of mastered the experience, whereas other players, this could take hours, as we said. It could take some people 20 hours.
Yeah.
OK's doing it in 6 minutes, so...
Yeah, 6 minutes to reach Freaky.
But this is something that OK really needs to... Obviously, OK needs to beat Freaky pretty fast.
Yeah. And you do the kinetic rifle?
Yeah, one thing I would recommend if you're a fan of Returnal and you want to... One thing that we're really proud of is like our storytelling and our like layered storytelling, that all of the names in Returnal mean something. I won't tell you what this means, but I would say that Freaky isn't just something cool. I'd say it may be worth a bit of research, and you may see some Greek mythological layers there. But yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
really,
a lot of melee.
A lot of melee, yeah. That's pretty cool.
All right. Phase 2.
Yeah, so you have a bit of that safe zone. If you get really close to Freaky, then because the projectiles are spawned from higher up, they can't reach you immediately there. So
Yep. Health is looking a little bit like the suit integrity is a little bit low, so potentially curious when the Silphium is going to be used.
Yeah.
Well, here we go. Probably now.
But interesting, yeah. Interesting to see that maybe the fastest strategy for dispatching Freaky is the melee focused. So that's the maybe best damage per second that you can end up dealing.
Yeah, looks like it.
But yeah, clearly landing some headshots made quite a bit of impact there as well.
Yeah, and obviously, like for this Freaky, for this moment, this was also like really complicated for our VFX team to kind of look into all the different, obviously all the bullets that are everywhere that Returnal's been really renowned for, but also for the VFX. So as you can see, the mist it kind of simulates, so it goes around the player, and the mist is actually, to me, it's like a character in the story, as is like Atropos. It's a character in Returnal. Obviously, we'll have to see if we get to watch any of the cinematics to see the full reveals of the story. But I think if you know what I'm talking about, you know that the mist and the fog, it has a bit of a connection to Selene and Selene's story. All right,
really cool.
Crimson Waste Key. Here we go. Okay, no. Oh, makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, just need to prioritize the absolute essentials, right?
Yeah,
for
yeah,
speedrun.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
fascinating to see what kind of things we prioritize here.
So 8 minutes 45 seconds to get
Yeah,
through
that's
Overgrown Ruins. That's
not bad.
That's a lot better than me.
Yeah. Oh, really cool.
Yeah, I think for me, like working on Returnal with the team, and it's getting so much time to play the game. Even when it came out, I obviously had the retail version. I had to finish it one more time, so I was pretty fast, but not this fast. All right, Crimson Waste.
Yeah. So it's interesting because I think the Overgrown Ruins, it has a slightly different level structure compared to the Crimson Waste. So it is just this cluster of interconnected rooms, of course.
Mhm.
And it's interesting that the rooms, of course, they can be entered from many different directions. So thinking back to the Overgrown Ruins, you can have some rooms within 4 entrance points. So memorizing those and maximizing, let's say, the traversal possibilities does take a lot of time and mastery of the game's content. Shifting now to Crimson Wastes, this has a slightly different level structure with kind of let's say, 3 acts. So here we have the first segment or the first phase of the level, which is the outdoors area. Then, of course, you go indoors and you have the ascension, and then you have kind of the climax at the top of the boss. So in terms of level structure, this is a little bit more predictable, perhaps, compared to the Overgrown Ruins, but still requires quite a bit of mastery to identify all the shortcuts and prioritize, of course, what weapons, what for your loadout. And
That was interesting to pick up the Hollow Seeker.
Yeah.
Obviously, I wonder why it was worth the time to kind of go and scan and go through as well. So. Yeah, I think for us as well, it was really important with each world that we have on Atropos that we do have that variation. So as a player, if you do spend a lot of time in the Overgrown Ruins, when you get to the Waste, it feels fresh and challenging and new, and it's just kind of a way for us to show more diversity and also explore the different layers of level design and game design, that rather than every world is just another version of the Overgrown Ruins, we really wanted to do something a bit special with everyone, with our design team and under Henry Musterman's great work. So
yeah,
but still curious on the Hollow Seeker.
And here there seems to be a bit of an exploit, if I'm reading this correctly.
Yeah. What?
So I think what happened is, okay, so you pick up the other weapon that has the alt fire of the beam.
Oh wow! Yeah, you're right.
If you're shooting that and then you swap weapons while shooting that, then it stays on.
Oh no!
So wow.
Yeah.
Okay, this is gonna be interesting.
Well, okay, now it will make sense.
Yeah.
This is definitely not the way to play Returnal, but it's a fast way. Oh, cool.
Yeah, I think that's always the fun and maybe the difficult part of watching some of these, when you see just things that slip to your attention as a developer. And
wow, it's awesome. It's just like a wrecking ball.
Jesus.
It's nice that okae is breaking everything to make it more exciting.
Yeah.
And that's one thing you may not notice when you play Returnal. Like, there is some nice destruction around if you can find it. So. All right. Yeah, I was looking at the health, thinking could go a bit wrong. Oh. All right, 12 minutes.
Yeah, really, it's cool momentum for sure.
I reached my goal. I finally summited.
And I guess now with the extra permanent beam helper, it should drastically increase the damage per second output.
Oh yeah, that's
oh man,
I think Ixion's gonna have a bad time. Yeah,
yeah, it's gonna have a bad day.
Yeah, for sure.
Not what he signed up for.
All right. Oh wow, look at that health bar.
What is going on?
Nice. Yeah, sneaky. Well, yeah, good work to find this.
I never get tired of seeing those bullet patterns.
Oh yeah,
like that.
yeah. Yeah, I love the I think the music by Bobby Krilic and Axon Cloak in this boss fight is like some of my favorite. I think it's just really driving. It's to me it's kind of like freaky when you start the game. You're like, wow, okay, this is Returnal, and then this is like turning it up to 11. Just And I think it's a real moment when you get that accomplishment and you can nail it and you beat it. It's a really great moment, I think, for players.
Absolutely, yeah, and it's so amazing to just, as you were saying earlier, Greg, just follow player stories of how they progress through the game, and you know what bosses they get stuck on, and what kind of strategies they try to overcome them, and just the sheer elation many feel when they overcome them is just it's been amazing to follow. Actually, yeah. Of course, okae is making it look very,
very easy. Yeah. Yeah, I remember the first time I built Ixia, and I was heart pumping. It was awesome. Even in like the early development stages, I was like, this is going to be awesome. Like when I think we had like some of the placeholder animations in, and you could get the scale and the pacing. It was like, this is very cool. And even just placeholder bullet patterns, I could get the vibe. And then when you get all the art in and the music and everything else going together, it really works out to be a really cool symphony. So
yeah, I really love how this boss is kind of utilizing some new tricks. Of course, like we have those damage shapes, like those expanding rings, and those barriers in the previous attack that lasted, I think, 1.7 seconds because okae just completely floored Ixion with that. But really great to see all of the bullet hell elements coming to the forefront here and taking the front stage in these battles. So yeah, pretty quick. Okay, so now we're gonna get the hook shot.
what's happening? Oh,
Okay, a bit of a delay there.
yeah. Too fast, okay.
Test complete. Apparent function is to cross vast distances. Suit status.
Really cool use of the hook shot. Like super in the zone flow.
Yeah, I think the utilization of space has been one of our key kind of like design principles, I guess, when we design the levels, of course. And we know that especially in the combat areas, and even here with just the light exploration, we have paced a lot of the hook shots to assist with like this fast traversal. And of course it offers both a lot of strategic possibilities, both for being offensive and more aggressive in your playstyle, but also as a quick escape route if you just want to get away. But really cool here to see how it's just chaining the hook shots and just gliding through the level.
I think something that we always asked ourselves as well when we were developing Returnal is like, it's not just about it being fun once, it needs to be fun again and again and again. So there was a lot of precision and a lot of iteration and tweaks to really make it fun every time. The hook shot's the right spot, where if you can chain it, you can. The first time you play, you may not get it. You may have to jump, you may be slower, but to really allow you to kind of, knowing that the game is about repetition, it's about like understanding the cycle, understanding Celine's story, it was really important for us.
As you said, Greg, I think we often ask ourselves, like, how fun will this be to play 100 times later?
Yes.
Not only the first time. And generally, the rule was that anything that's only fun once should only be experienced once.
Yes.
So for some of the more introductory kind of rooms or these kind of slower paced moments, we allow players to experience them at their own pace the first time, and then they are effectively removed from the loop, so we can focus on the more intense and engaging portions of the game.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but really cool. And this is of course from a fresh save. So this is a first run with all of the cinematics and everything. I mean, of course, we're skipping the house sequences, but and I guess a lot of the other cinematics as well that aren't crucial for the progression. But yeah, here we have the beacon, of course, so that was a necessary aspect.
That's true. With my narrative hat, I'd say, you got to do the houses as well. But yeah, there's I think there's a lot of cool stuff in the houses. If you haven't played Returnal, then it's something that's a really interesting part of how we try to explore Celine's character and let you literally like experience it firsthand. But it doesn't seem like we'll see him this time in this playthrough. But yeah, and the logs. We've seen a lot of Celine logs.
Yeah, but it's cool to see that the game, the way that's been structured, it does favor, let's say, a speedrun style playthrough quite well.
Yeah.
And I think one of the key decisions there was that we wanted to keep the narrative, of course, rich and deep, but also fairly unintrusive in like the main kind of like flow of the game. That's why, of course, the houses are entirely optional.
Yeah.
In a way, and yeah, if you just want to focus on like the gameplay and the flow and finding that forward momentum, then the game allows you to just do that. So
Exactly. Yeah, that was definitely our philosophy. It was always something that you engage with by default. So yeah, it's definitely
really cool.
good.
So it's like 19 minutes in.
Yeah. Oh, I was really curious to see the automaton to see like how okae would have gone, but
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah. To be fair, I think with a lot of our levels,
Nemesis.
here we go. Okay, so here
I guess the distance.
the distance and the damage here with the current loadout doesn't seem to be that crushing for Nemesis, so might be able to sneak in a couple of hits. But yeah, once again, really always happy to see. I never get tired of seeing like these elaborate bullet patterns and that kind of neon flare. And yeah, okay, so first phase is pretty much done already.
Yeah, in a sequence like this, it takes obviously lots of animation, VFX, great work from the art team, obviously audio, even down to like the narrative of how we get in there and how we get out. But it was really important for us to have this really special moment for the players that you fight so hard, and just when you think you understand a boss in Returnal, this one turns you upside down and spits you out. So I think this has been, from what I've seen, a big highlight for a lot of people. And literally, the Nemesis, the name is intentional. That this is supposed to be a point that when you overcome it, you're down the rabbit hole in the next moment. But yeah.
Yeah, and of course we are going to be seeing the rest of the game pretty soon. So I guess it's pretty open spoiler territory, of course, for the 2-act structure.
Yep.
But the idea was for this spot to make it feel like a really climactic battle, to almost feel like a final boss fight, like what you'd expect from an epic final battle. And I think that also helps with the next step, which is of course the mid-game kind of narrative beat that we have, a bit of a twist that we have there that we'll look at soon. I think it also helps it land a bit harder because you overcome this monumental task. You're like, oh, okay, now I must have accomplished something, right? And then the game just kind of throws you back into it. And all of our bosses were designed for this maximum, let's say, impact on many fronts. And yeah, clearly good opportunity to showcase our cool VFX and art direction and the music, of course. It's always, I think this is where the game really is firing on all the cylinders, when you have all the elements coming together in a symphony, as you said earlier.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, as shared, like the point of this was to kind of subvert like what was coming up ahead and do something really bold where, as well as it being a bold fight, it's a shame we can't hear it in 3D audio, but the bullets flying past, it's like one of my favorite things. But yeah, basically like really wanted to have this solid twist that rammed home because, as you know, when you land on Atropos, if you haven't played, basically you're trying to follow this signal and you've done it. You found the signal, but that's not really what you need to do. That's not what you need to do with Celine on Atropos. So
what is the secret of Atropos?
Yeah, I don't think we're going to go into that unfortunately. So, no. But nonetheless, it's all very intentional of how everything builds up and wanting to explore that. And I think this floating between platforms, once again, it was something in the early prototypes from the design team that you could already see was going to be really interesting and innovative, and haven't played a boss like this before. And that was a really big thing for everyone involved in Returnal, to do something really special that hopefully people remember in the future as well.
Yeah, it wasn't easy to pull off. I mean, this is kind of breaking some of the normal rules, I guess, that we have in the normal level design. So this needed its own kind of unique treatment, but definitely feel like it was worth it to give players something quite memorable as well, for sure.
Yeah, and we were quite careful with how we wanted to present the game.
Here we go.
Oh.
Bye, Nemesis. Nice.
Always like to think of that as a bit of an homage to like Resogun and.
Oh yeah, I think we've been wearing our shoot 'em up influences quite proudly on our sleeve.
Ah, there you go. We get a bit of story. I don't think you can skip that one. So nice to see some hints of what's to come, and the laser's still burning.
Oh no. The stress signal acknowledged. Okay, so Celine is saved, right? So game is over. Okay, let's pack up.
Yeah, that's even what Jane is as Celine. It's kind of what it says. Yeah, Astra received my signal. I guess that's it. Yeah.
Oh wow, and the beam is still there.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So yeah, we really wanted to build up this whole moment and relief. Even Celine is relieved. She's been told just to wait. She's done it. Yeah, that's the whole reason why she came here. This must be it.
I escape.
Ta-da! Oh, okay.
But it's not, and the game continues. So
Cycle remains. I can't
Okay.
escape.
So here we are, starting Act 2.
Oh,
A bit of a familiar environment, but with a slightly different presentation, now with the echoing ruins.
I need to
yeah, and for this, obviously now you've seen it. The idea is that Celine can't just leave this. She actually lived a happy life. You could say happy. Past, and as she passed, she wakes up back on Atropos. So she didn't break the cycle. The cycle's still here.
Cycle is still here to break her.
Exactly. Yeah. So now she needs to continue to really understand why she's here. But to make things even worse, this world that the players understood and Celine has understood
Oh, man.
has completely changed in front of her eyes. There's the house, everyone's favorite. All right.
Okay, so picking up.
Pylon launcher, right?
Yeah,
Retro pylon driver.
Pilot driver,
Yep.
yeah. So, okay. It's a cool strategic choice. I think this weapon does have a lot of firepower, like potential as well. So, let's see where we need to use it. But yeah, I thought that was a really cool way to kind of reframe some content that was to a certain degree familiar to players through the overgrown ruins, but give it a fresh perspective and recontextualize a lot of things and feed back into the mystery as well, like where am I, when am I as well, and how it all ties into Celine's personal story. And this is a kind of special biome in a way as well, because from the audio perspective, it does build up to the climactic encounter with Hyperion as well. So there's already kind of like these teasing kind of notes throughout the environment of what's to come. And those who have played the game and seen the cinematics and the final ending, they know that the musical kind of the melody that we have there is of a certain significance to Celine's story.
It's just we don't go too
Yeah.
deep. Yeah.
Yeah, so these are things that players who have played the game, of course, and presumably watching a full game speed run are aware of possible spoilers. So, yeah, not giving away too much, but yeah, it is going to build up to the Hyperion boss fight, and yeah, really happy with how that whole sequence played out. We'll get to try it out or see it pretty soon, actually. But just from the audio design perspective as well, I think it was something a special and memorable moment for players. Yeah, that's the thing. So I think a lot of the levels that we have, this is one of the few exceptions that you actually are forced to, of course, kill an enemy before the doors open to advance.
Yeah.
So I mean, we do have this formula in a variety of different rooms. We have the kind of arena-like rooms with the layers of multiple challenges. But for speedrun, pretty much most of the rooms allow you to just circumvent the challenges and power through. So it does support that forward momentum in many ways. But still, yeah, cool to see some of okae's combat skills as well here with dispatching the elite.
Yeah, it's amazing just looking all this work just fly by.
Yeah.
All this amazing stuff, but it's amazing skill. Like this, playing the game quite a lot, cannot do this. So yeah, huge props and amazing pacing through everything. Even that is a challenging like combat, and you really need to use the space. It's quite mobile. So yeah, it's nice to see that okae's really mastered that, as well as the exact place to drop, dash, go through. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, because for speedrun especially, I mean, you need to be adapting to what the game is is throwing at you quite
Yeah.
on the fly. So you need to identify kind of like where to teleport to, what exits to take. And I think, yeah, the mini map and of course the R3 kind of like scanning, as you said, Greg, that does help a little bit on that front.
Yeah.
And of course, there are a lot of rooms like this one that are fixed in the pipeline, and you can maybe optimize, let's say, your traversal with as well. So yeah, this was what I was referring to. Of course, the build up to Hyperion. So I think a lot of the build up and the atmosphere might be a bit lost when doing it.
When okae nailed it.
When okae is going through it at like a breakneck pace. But yeah.
Yeah, I think for us it was once again about the repetition and the replayability. That it was supposed to be the first time you're playing through the Echoing Ruins, you're like, is that like an organ playing? And then generally, obviously, a lot of players are going to be quite challenged, and you'll really have to fight through all the ruins to really get here. But it's kind of like, I think Returnal's about piecing together the puzzle, and this was a very clear like sound design way for us to allow you to piece the puzzle of the story and see. And once again, I would say if you're curious to look into a name, I think Hyperion's a good name to learn and understand.
Yeah, so all of these, of course, have been inspired by Greek mythology, and there are some nuances there that tie back to Celine's predicament and maybe her history as well. And won't give too much away, but yeah, I guess we've tried to plant a lot of these seeds that can attract players' attention, and all of these are small pieces of the larger puzzle, of course.
Yeah, these bullet patterns are awesome as well.
Yeah, I keep saying the same thing, but I just don't get tired of seeing this the neon flare and like the Gitano circus style kind of homing missiles and the bullet hell and the patterns, and yeah.
Cool use of the pylon driver as well, just kind of hitting the ground, like just melting that health bar.
Yeah, but really, I feel like really happy with how the boss battles actually came through in the end. So each one feels kind of special and memorable, and I think this one also has quite a profound kind of role in the story, I guess, from a symbolic significance as well. Okay, so here we are.
I think with this part of the experience as well, if you think that we've shifted from Act 1 into like Act 2, it was also about beginning to kind of subvert what a boss is. You're used to seeing bosses a certain way. This boss becomes a bit more, if everything on Atropos was more alien, now it's becoming a bit more psychological, a bit more human. So it's kind of developing into something, and same way the world has thrown you upside down after your failed escape. This is kind of part of that. You could say the world almost crumbling around Celine in a sense, that she's beginning to understand that Atropos is more than it seems, and it knows things about her that it shouldn't know, and it always has known. So just escaping it isn't enough. She has to go more interior, more into herself to survive.
Absolutely, yeah. Okay, cool. So we got the fractured key.
It was too much. Too much.
The expressway down.
Yep.
Oh, that was amazing catching that.
Yeah, really cool.
Very cool. Using that grapple point, just. It's interesting, the technique of standing right in the middle. I guess that is the quickest way. So, cool.
There's no way that you can fast skip the opening animation,
No.
You've got to run.
You've got to prepare, yeah. But yeah, impressive. All right.
But yeah, definitely shifting away. Like I think the first half of the game, as you mentioned, Greg, we did try to subvert expectations a little bit, and it's like Alice tumbling down the rabbit hole, that things appear a certain way when you start playing the game, and you feel okay. I have this singular mission of finding like the source of the broadcast signal, but then as you go deeper and deeper, then your perception of the game and the reality around Celine starts changing as well, or evolving. So yeah, really cool.
Yeah, but this is going to be interesting. So obviously, if you've played, this is an optional thing you can do to really get some cool loot and just rack up the obolites. But in this within the fractured place, we basically, you need to do this. So it's not a choice for OK. OK needs to overcome quite a challenging scenario, and the severed here are tough. Tough. I know when I was playing at home, even this, after we shipped, it was still like, oh man, this is
a bit tough life. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's tough. But I think the strategy's right. This is what I do, just to hedge the bets that try to get this part out of the way, and then the rest of it's a bit easier. But yeah, fractured wastes are tough. Really love the music and just the just the whole overall experience. I think for us when we were designing Returnal, it was about, as you said, surprising players, and in terms of the gameplay variation, in terms of what happens when you die, in terms of the environment. So I think when you're expecting Crimson Wastes, instead you get a frozen world. It was another big moment. We really wanted to kind of stun the player and really, once again, like create a special memory for them when they play Returnal. Just when they think they get it.
Absolutely, yeah. So wanted to create this feeling of having this grand adventure, of course, but also have a lot of depth. So in the systems, in the weapons, and like the items, and the strategic options the player has with the enemies and so on. So it's like the gift that keeps on giving in a way, and we wanted to have these really memorable kind of milestones for your progress too. So from beginning to end, keep players on edge, not knowing what to expect, and have some really cool moments. And here
This is a tough moment.
this is a tough moment. Speaking of which,
Yeah. Okay, he's doing great as always.
Yeah,
Fast, smooth. Look at all those bullets.
so it is. I think applying bullet hell to like a 3D environment like this, it does really challenge your spatial awareness. So you need to kind of have a 360 kind of general feel for what's happening. There's so many bullets kind of just lingering. There's like the expanding shapes, that are a bit slower, but you still have to plan around them. And it does compartmentalize the gameplay in a way. And cool to see the hook shot, of course, does give you a really, really fast escape route in a way. So there's some escape options when things get a bit too tight. And you probably want to keep these guys at a distance because they can get pretty nasty up close with teleportation and
if you're stuck in the fractured waste, like the way OK did it is, it's the way. It's good.
The first key for the vault.
Yeah, but as you said, it was coming into Returnal, I think, like incredible work for like the game design team to take like a Housemarque game, like what is essentially a Housemarque game, and transfer it into this whole new paradigm and create something really interesting. It was amazing for me joining a little bit after the first prototype, just seeing that it worked. Like, wow, this is a Housemarque game in third person with this like bullet ballet, this like bullet hell. Just it was a dream to play even from the start. It was just getting everything else to catch up and expanding, and it's really proud of everyone involved. It's definitely, I think it pulled up really well. Even just playing the game a bit more now, it's still got it for me.
Absolutely, super proud of what we accomplished with the team, and hats off once again to the entire Housemarque team and our partners, of course, who helped us make this massive step up in our Housemarque legacy. So a lot of the traditional kind of Housemarque creative DNA seemed to survive the transition to 3D as well.
Yeah.
And I mean, this did start out as a dream project, and it still is something quite special for many of us. So really cool to see this level of mastery, of course, now with OK. There's the time investment that players have devoted to this, and really cool. So it seems just keeping your distance from the severed seems to be like a pretty healthy strategy.
Oh, you just see what happened?
Yep, here we go.
Here we go.
Over the extra beam.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I think for OK, it was probably dreaming from the basically from the start in Act 2 that you could just get that ult fire. So
I was wondering about that actually.
I'm sure it wasn't a choice. It was that that's how the cards were dealt. So
Yeah, luck. Of course, luck plays a role quite a bit as well. But even there, it was cool how it chose to prioritize just jumping straight through the challenge and just accept that, okay, receiving a bit of damage is worth it in many cases just to get through a bit faster.
Yeah, definitely.
So really cool.
And I think that is something that it's nice to see it used this way, that in Returnal, like, you can just run. There is that fight or flight. If you get into a room and you're like, no thank you, you can just just bolt like okay, and it may be the thing you need. Like if you're low on health, if you can just get through one more space, it could be exactly what you need. So it's definitely, I think even I use that in like how I've played. If it gets a bit too rough, you just bounce and hope for the cards to land the right way sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there is a clear trade-off there, because clearly you don't invest that time in building up your character, like increasing your maximum health, getting like the optimal loadout. And then when you are forced to actually fight, then the odds are severely stacked against you, of course. So not a strategy for everyone, for sure.
Yeah, it is interesting with OK, just looking at how small the Obolites count is. For me, it was a lot of playing and building up to get Celine in a really good state for the whole cycle that we're in to really get a chance to survive. But yeah, Obolites are clearly not a concern. It's just execution and great speed.
Okay, so I think we should be done here, right? So I didn't miss something. I mean, the things are just moving so fast. I might have missed some key beats here, but
final beat here.
Final beat. Here we are.
So speaking once again of wanting to do another twist, for us it was like, okay, so you've conquered a lot of Atropos, but you haven't conquered the depths of it, and you haven't conquered the abyss. So in that sense, this was another moment which hopefully people really enjoyed.
Yeah, and big symbolic significance for the story as well, of course. I mean, and there is the obvious layers of like going to the depths of Atropos, going to the depths of maybe your past, maybe some puzzle pieces here as well. And I think there's just almost like this primal fear that you feel also when you're at this like deep underwater. You know, it's clearly not your natural habitat.
Yeah.
And yeah, really happy with how this biome came together as well. And I was going to say, it's really interesting to see how we have like the DMJ, like the fast traversal with like the dash melee jump. And of course here with the lowered gravity, it allows for some really impressive shortcuts as well. So
for sure, yeah.
I mean, technically a lot of these you can do, of course, with just maybe the more traditional kind of jump and dash and so on. But it's clear that there's a masterful knowledge of the level layouts and just knowing exactly where to jump at which moment just to get
There's also I think as you are underwater, there's also the floatiness in the controls which we added, which I think adds a real nice layer where just as Celine has understood, she's conquered all these spaces, then once again there's another challenge for you. And for many players it is about starting again in the echoing ruins, like conquering that, collecting the experience. But for OK as clearly understanding so much about the game can just burn through without needing that cycle to really get through it.
Yeah, I think traditionally underwater levels tend to have a bit of a bad reputation in games, you know, but really happy with how we managed to pull it off here. So I think the floatiness just adds a little bit of that freshness to kind of the biome, but it doesn't slow down the game or the pacing.
No,
if anything, it actually helps you take some more impressive shortcuts and control the momentum even more than playing at this level. So yeah. Oh man, it's just really like powering through.
Yeah, and I think we really wanted to like play don't show. So for a lot of this you can see like OK just has that freedom to just flow through the experience and really just get into flow, which is such an important thing with house smart games, like getting you in the zone and understanding. So it's good to see this all working and singing together. Oh yeah, I remember this moment, but yeah, here we go. I remember when this was first added. It was like, whoa, this is challenging, but
yeah.
It was just when you think you're close. We just had
One,
this.
one of my favorite moments here for sure. I think I really love just how the enemy appears there with the tentacles.
Oh, it's awesome.
It's just really majestic.
Yeah.
Underwater, it's yeah.
I think even for OK, probably there was a tiny bit of stress. Very cool playing, but yeah. I think we timed that thing where it appears just really nicely, where you're like, okay, yeah, I've got this, and then nope, maybe I don't. So yeah.
Yeah, but seems to be doing, of course, really well with health, and of course there's the health seal fume vial as well as a fallback. So there you go.
Curse bullets, yeah, they're
Okay.
rough. Yeah, for sure.
Oh no, fabricator costs increased by 25%.
Yeah.
Whatever will OK do?
Yeah. Yeah. He doesn't seem to mind about like not fabricating or the houses, but still. Here we go.
Here we go. This is it.
Haven't seen many players asking what this thing is, but I won't say anything. That's better left to you.
I have nothing to comment on that either. So yeah, here we are, beginning of the end.
Pitch black guilt.
Orphean.
Of Hades. Do you cast the white shadow?
I remember seeing the first concepts from the art team for this, and yeah, it was. We kind of explained about what we were trying to do with the story and how it's subverted, and each boss is getting more connected to Celine. They're all connected, but more visually connected. So the first concepts, once again, you could see what was happening. It was just a hell of a lot of hard work to push through to get there, but it's really rewarding to see it. And as Harry's saying, like, yeah, it doesn't get old.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know there was.
Yeah, we have a couple of.
Oh, wait, I knew
helpers.
that one played. I didn't know that. That's great.
Yeah, really cool. I don't think I've mentioned this before, but I really enjoy how the bullet patterns and
Yeah, you've said that a few times. To me, it's also just the whole experience. It's like doing a really great boss. It's almost like designing its own game because the rules are changed, the way that it plays. So it's a huge amount of work, but it's something that, yeah, it's for us. It's really worth the investment to do something really special because we're creating like a really magnificent moment. Here we go. I love this phase. This one's yeah. And the sound design as well.
the sound design and the music. I think it's a pretty creepy climax.
Yeah. I remember like some of the audio samples and stuff the sound design team were using for this were pretty interesting and horrific of when you're going through and the layers of the sounds used to achieve particularly the death cry, which I think we'll have to listen to it okay, was it was interesting to hear that broken down, and we're saying a lot, that's all I'll say with those layers if you want to try to pick it apart.
And this is a fairly dark room as well, so it actually really helps the bullets pop a lot more. It's really high contrast. It helps with readability quite a bit, and makes it really crystal clear where you need to, like those mini kind of pathways that you have to plan to kind of avoid the bullets effectively. And we do have the beams, of course, that those are the dark versions of the beams that you can't dash through. So you can, but you do receive damage, unlike the normal ones that you can just phase through. So, yeah.
As you will.
Okay, here it is, another final descent.
You know, we really wanted this to be like a bit of a palette cleanser, like a mood shift, where you've gone from this mega high intensity into this bit of a slower. Well, not slow if you're okay.
Okay.
Sorry, that was impressive. Yeah, I was really looking forward to that orchestrated reveal.
Okay, here we are. And we have the beam as a companion as well. And
well, there you go.
with that,
I recommend you watch the ending if you get there. But yeah, amazing.
My feeling is that this is the first time that OK has actually finished the game, so it's probably seen the ending a few times to get there.
Yeah. No, but amazing. That was fast.
Really cool.
All right, time for confirmation. This has been really cool to see how this screen's been used by the community.
Absolutely.
Wow, there you go.
48 minutes, 52 seconds.
I even say 49 seconds to give okay a bit of a... Yeah,
Sure.
great work. Very cool.
That was awesome, yeah. Yeah, so thanks a lot to everyone for sticking with us until the end. So we had a lot of fun looking at this speed run. So lots of really cool techniques, and yeah, thanks again to OK and to IGN, of course, for setting this up. So yeah, thanks guys, and see you on Atropos.
Yeah, see you there.